My name's William Stanforth, and my short story is called The Landlord. When the young couple arrived, the real estate agent was filming a TikTok. Dressed in gym wear and standing before a black Mercedes sedan, she flailed her arms to an excerpt of a top 40 dance song. Her phone recorded this from the external window ledge of a terrace house that the couple had recently signed the lease for. The couple waited for the agent to finish her video. She did, and then lamented messing up some part and made out that it was the couple's arrival that had caused her to do so. After giving them the keys, the agent said she was legally obliged to tell them that the owner of their terrace, the landlord, actually lived next door. Eyes fixed on her phone, reviewing her TikTok, she explained, "You won't have to deal with him unless something needs fixing, or he joins me on a routine inspection." Then she mumbled, "Or if it's cold and lightning cracks through a full moon and he's scared and he needs you to comfort him and tell him it's okay." "What?" quizzed the young man. "Don't worry about it," she groaned before spitting her gum onto the footpath and departing down the cold Melbourne street in her Mercedes, sunroof ajar, techno blasting. That night, the couple ate takeaway pizza on the living room floor amid boxes of their worldly possessions. And she, the young woman, said it felt like a commercial, them, a couple in their early 30s sitting with beer and pizza and hopes for the future. A commercial for a big bank or insurance or something, which would flash forward to them having kids, attending school plays and sporting events, and celebrating milestones like graduations and birthdays. He swigged his beer and agreed that it felt like a commercial. Weeks passed and they set up their new home with items they'd accumulated over years of renting together. Flat pack furniture, books, clothes, cookware, everything. This was the first time they'd had a spare room without needing some stranger to occupy it in order to save money. He'd recently gotten a promotion. Still, they could only just afford it. In their spare room, he made music when he wasn't working, and sometimes she painted when she also wasn't working. When she was in there alone, she'd often imagined a crib in the corner and a baby cooing while an electric heater fended off the winter chill. She didn't tell him about this until one cold Friday night when they were both in there and they'd shared a clean skin, and she just blurted it out. He sat doing sums in his mind, then shrugged. Maybe it could work. They began to kiss by the window until lightning cracked through the sky, and when they looked outside, they saw the moon was full. Not long after, the landlord arrived. The landlord, a greying man in his 60s or 70s with a stout physique, stood at their door. He was dressed in clothing reminiscent of a child from a bygone era. Button-up shirt, cords, flat cap, red suspenders. When the young couple opened the door and told him to leave, he said he couldn't because it was cold outside and he was scared. They told him again, and the landlord said it didn't matter how they felt because he owned the place, and he came in. Days passed and the landlord stayed, sleeping in their spare room, spilling expensive paints over musical instruments, crying for food and demanding to be read to. The couple called the real estate company many times. When they finally got through to the agent, she said, as if it were obvious, "Maybe he'll leave if you pay him more money." The couple said they had no more money, and the agent hung up. Seasons changed, and eventually the young couple got used to living with and taking care of the landlord, emotionally draining and absurd as it was. They washed him and fed him and made sure he wasn't scared, even though it was no longer cold outside. They hovered over his makeshift bed and read him stories until he fell asleep. On one of these nights, the couple sat outside their rental and watched the shadows deepen, breathing in the spring air as the landlord snored loudly inside. "Does it still feel like a commercial?" she asked. "Maybe," he said, "just not for something that anyone would want to buy."